Hello and welcome to another BuildASoil YouTube episode. Today we've got Season 7, Episode 3. And I already front-loaded some of the work, but I wanted to show you what we're doing. In the last episode, you saw me go through all these packs, and you notice one big change. These trays are all empty. And so I did keep one seedling, and it's the double dose diesel F2. And I want to talk about my process for transplanting these. Before I do that, I'm going to show you what I've already done. So go ahead and come on over here, and you'll notice that I hooked up 2 TRAY2GROWs. If you're not familiar with what the TRAY2GROW is, it is a sub-irrigated planter that can be used to do beds or pots or cups or anything like that, and I really enjoy it. Earthbox is another sub-irrigated, but this has a lot more flexibility. Right here is the reservoir, and so you can see there's no water in it right now. I'm actually running it empty. I'm going to talk about why, but I also have an empty one so I can show you what it looks like without all the seedlings in it. But you do notice all the seedlings are in here. These are all the ones that germinated. And so I'm really happy to report from Westlow Seeds, we got a significant germination rate, over 90%. We have a few stragglers left, and that's fine. I suspect that those will probably germinate as well, as nature likes to spread out some of the germination timing. Sometimes the stragglers, they take an extra week by the time they pop late to catch up, and I don't want to deal with that in a sea of green. So we're probably going to leave those to the side, and I'll just give them away once they germinate, but we will keep track of it. And then as far as what's going on in here, I'm keeping the water off until I see growth of the seedlings. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn the water on, and when I leave for the weekend, I won't have to worry about watering all these perfectly. They're just gonna bottom water, and it makes the job super easy. The roots will dig right in, and they'll start drinking water, and it'll wick up into the cup. These cups are my favorite. They're the solo cups. Normally what we would use, which you'll still see a lot of your friends use on the forums or on their Instagram or whatever, will be just party cups, like beer cups. And normally what I would do is take the scissors to the edge and just cut 3 or 4 holes, and then I would have to do a whole process. These are pretty cost effective. They already have holes in them, and they're my favorite shape, so I use them. And so for those of you that use this and you're maybe looking at the TRAY2GROW or you've already got it, 36 of these fit very, very comfortably, slightly staggered inside the TRAY2GROW, and I fit 37 in this one and 38 in that one by really kind of getting them close, but I think 36 is ideal. So that's just some information. I'll go ahead and put that on the website as well so people know exactly how many of these cups fit. Otherwise, let me show you the TRAY2GROW before I get started. We're gonna transplant the last seedling. I'm gonna show you what I added to my water. Hint, it's root-wise, but we'll go over like the timing of that and what else I added to the water. And then in the next episode, we're gonna start to bring out the new 2024 BuildASoil feed schedule that I'm gonna be using this entire time, where last time we did water only. We're really gonna try and use all of our favorite products this time and show you what we can do. So let's get started. Let me grab this. I've got a TRAY2GROW right here, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like so you get an idea without the seeds there. It's got these grooves in here, and this is where the water will fill in, and it has 3 levels. And this is one I've already used, so I'm just gonna go clean it and put it for another use. We're using them all over here because they're automated. And so you wanna make sure it's level, because obviously we're flooding it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the water will fill up in here, and the only way it gets up into the containers is through what's called a wicking mat, and I'll show you what that looks like. So here's the wicking mat, and this one I just kind of rinsed off. You can soap them, whatever you wanna do in between rounds. And so this is a wicking material that will move the water up. And the way it works is you actually set it in here. You can see it's a little big. It has room for it to fit directly into the channels here like this. So you put 2 of the channels in, and then it sits perfectly flat in here. And normally what you do is I just get this wet and I kind of wring it out, and it folds in there really, really easily. And then what I thought was so cool about this setup is if you have a reservoir where the water is being fed from, the Earthbox is not like that, but the TRAY2GROW is. The roots can actually go clog the whole system. And so Autopot, who makes the TRAY2GROW, is very smart, and they have a copper root blocker. This one's already been used, but you can use it multiple times. And this just goes right over the top of the wicking bed, and that stops the roots from growing through. They're not gonna be able to chase the water, and they sit on the mat and drink the water and wick the water up. And so I've used this many times already, and I'm so surprised that I can take a black plastic cup like that. It's not like a bag. Doesn't have full surface contact. but those little round holes are just enough to wick up the right amount of moisture and the roots dig it through. And so it's like a game changer to have that many seeds over there without separate trays that I have to like bottom water. And the fact that it's got the levels means that it's like not all the water is going to go to one side where normally that'd be a problem. With the wicking mat, it's not really a problem. It's more like if it was way off. So I just like it. They're a little pricey, so like you don't have to do this setup at all. It's just when it's not at my house, automation really, really helps. And if you have a busy life, getting one of these or a couple of these, they can be used for seedlings. You can put 5 gallon, 3 gallon, 2 gallon, like whatever you want. Just set it on there and it'll drink. Or you can use the big bed like we used in season 6. And we actually have another tent. The tropical tent we're repositioning to be a experiment tent. And we're gonna be doing some crop steering, some moisture control. We're gonna try the wicking mat that is from Blue Mat from Sustainable Village. So lots of cool stuff going on. We haven't hooked up any irrigation other than this, which is just temporary for the seedlings. And so this is the reservoir that holds the water. It's off right now. If I were to open this valve, it'll fill up those trays. And now if you come back over here, you can see the copper below all the seeds. That's the brand new copper mat. So thank you, Autopot. They hooked me up with 2 TRAY2GROWs for my experiments so that I could show them off and do some content. And that just makes it so easy. So that's what I'm using. The reservoir is full to like here. I probably won't need that much water. What I'm gonna do is let these grow probably through the weekend. And as soon as that happens, I'm gonna open this and that'll keep them the rest of the way through. Next week, what we're gonna do is snip some of the first or second sets of leaves and we're gonna send them off to Farmer Freeman. So these just showed up a few minutes ago, which is perfect because we're filming today. And this is like what you might find at a retail store. We're gonna get Martin to help share these at a lot of the stores that carry BuildASoil. But these are like a 10 pack and you would mail it in and then you get the sets of your 10 seedlings. And so he sent me this so we could show off how cool it looks, but Farmer Freeman hooked it up and he didn't have to do this. He's been around doing this a long time. Everyone knows who he is. So I feel like we're benefiting this maybe more than he is. But what I'm hoping is that some of you that might have some regular packs and you've been curious about DNA testing, show him some love, go to his website, just shout him out. Whatever you guys can do to send some business his way because he's taken care of BuildASoil for like a long time. And although I don't often do DNA testing, when I'm doing a huge hunt like this is a massive savings. And I don't expect everyone to spend this much money. A lot of commercial facilities will, you know, a lot of hobbyists that really want to do a big pheno hunt, they will. But for the average grower with like a 10 pack, 12 pack, and they don't want to buy feminized, there's a special pack. It's good to know that you can do this and you can get the DNA results. And it's like 99%. So out of 100, you might have one that's a misreading, but it's really, really good. And I'll explain why that's huge for me because what we're doing, and while I get to this, I'm transplanting this basically before there's even a taproot out the bottom. So you can see there's nothing. Some of them have roots already coming out because I planted these on Monday, today's Friday. They were dry. I put the seed directly in the cocoa coin. We used a little root-wise in the soak. And today's Friday, so it was Monday afternoon. It's now Friday afternoon, so that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days. And basically all of them are germinated except for the few stragglers. A couple of them were like within 12 hours, started to peak, and the rest right after that. And that's really normal from what I see from seed packs. But my ideal for you at home, if you're using a cocoa coin, is to transplant immediately when they pop. You could even take one at a time and transplant them instead of waiting for them all where you have roots just furry hanging out the bottom and then you got to transplant all those roots because this is such a nice vessel before the roots pop to just twist it right into the soil. And I'll show you what I do. The few that had roots pop out, I just dig my fingers a little deeper to gently set it so that I don't have like the root get ripped off while I'm transplanting. Then here's the next part. Part of the BuildASoil way, especially when you're dealing with living soil, if we can get them smooth, like from seedling to transplant to teenager, like right into flower, like as fast as possible, we get the best health. Oftentimes what happens is our schedule dictates that we hold things back. Oh, I'm too busy, I'll transplant later. Flowering's taking a while longer, I'll hold you back in the veg room for a while. When we do those things, I notice that it slows the even flow of energy down and you get less healthy results. And so my goal is always to just get in there right when it's time. And that way, even if I miss, it's by like a couple hours or a day, not by a week or something drastic that can hurt your grow. And so with DNA testing, what I can do is these go straight into these cups. And the reason why is when I put into a cup like this, I'm gonna have to transplant fairly soon because the roots will fill. I don't want them to spiral. And normally I wouldn't be able to sit here and sex a plant in this size cup. I could, but I'd have to feed it. it would be really lanky. And then when I transplanted, they'd be all like not bushy, different height. A lot of times the plants will mirror the container they're in. So when they're kind of narrow, they're not gonna get real bushy. And so my goal is to, as soon as the roots are just barely holding this cup of soil together, we're gonna transplant. Because we will already know from Farmer Freeman which ones are female, which ones are male. We'll get to separate them. That's huge. Normally what happens is I would have to put these in about 1 gallon, and the 1 gallon kind of limits the root spacing, which triggers them into sexual maturity and showing the pre-flowers slightly sooner. But even so, it's about 6 weeks in. So right now what I'm doing is, from this transplant, I probably wait 6 to 7, maybe even 8 weeks for the final stragglers to show me their sex, which is 2 months. And so Farmer Freeman basically is giving me 2 months and allowing me to do what I like to do at home, which is a sea of green. And so, although I'm doing a seed hunt, most people will take clones about the same size we're gonna transplant, and they'll run them all in the sea of green so that it's a uniform canopy and you get the maximum yield for the time, and you get the top quality single formation buds lollipopped instead of multiple side branches stretched all the way up to the top. And I feel like that's a great way to go, but many people won't do it because of plant count. Obviously, what we're doing is too many seeds, and so we're gonna get rid of a lot of these via DNA testing. And so this is just temporary, but I did wanna share that with you. So let me put this right back where I found it. Let's go through what I did for all of these. It's my basic process. You can come over here. This is the DDD 13. And this is like the standard that I would come up with. So that's the double dose diesel F2. And DDD is the easiest way for me to remember that, or like D3, or everybody comes up with their own notation. And to me, that's just authentic. Usually what you see is the masking tape, the made up names from the long seed names, and then you just get them going. What I normally don't do is number them until I've identified females, but I have to number them because we're gonna send them off to Farmer Freeman, and I'm gonna have to separate the males and the females by which number they are on my spreadsheet. And I need to be organized. Otherwise, if I don't know which is which, it'll ruin the entire DNA testing process. So I've already done that. This is the 13th one of the double dose diesel. And so we're actually using the Ultra Clean recipe across the board. I decided to use it for the seedlings, for the bed, and for the 10-gallon pots that we're gonna use, because the Ultra Clean is one of my favorite soil recipes that I've not used on camera. And the winner at the, or one of the winners, I should say, at the BuildASoil Days and the Living Soil Cup last year was using Ultra Clean. A number of successful commercial grows from East Coast to West Coast are using it, and we've never ever had a failure for heavy metals in this Ultra Clean commercial recipe. That's why I want to promote it, because it's a really nice recipe with very few ingredients. And in the next episode, when we're probably filling the 10 gallons, I'll go over the recipe, where it came about, and give you some history on the Ultra Clean. But it's really nice to work with. And so what I do is I take a bucket. You can do it right out of the bag, but I find that using a bucket or a tub keeps me a little more organized. Because I had to do so many, I got kind of organized today. And so I just take 2 scoops. Whatever you're using, it might be different, but either way, it's duplicatively the same for me. And so you can kind of see that it's not quite full. And that's about the perfect amount of room for me to take one of these and just put it in there. And I like to make sure that the top is below the cup so I can cover it. And by the way, no moisture has been added since we germinated the seeds. So I did the original soak in the water with a little root wise. I put them all in there. I didn't do anything after that. They just germinated everything on its own via the cocoa coin. Some people over tinker. They go water them and soak them, and you can just cause damping off. Just trust the system. The amount of water that's in there works really, really well. Then I go around the edge, and I'm being very careful not to smash the seedling. And I do it actually a little bit over the sides. And then that allows me to push with my thumbs all the way around the cocoa coin so that I pack in what would be loose, give a little bit of a tap, and now I'm done. Then this just goes over to the tray where it's gonna be auto watered. Now right now the water's not on, and all I need is enough water to last a couple days, which with young seedlings in a high humidity environment like this, the initial water will be plenty for a couple of days. But then after that, once the roots have hit the bottom, they're gonna wanna drink. So we'll open up the reservoir and I'll show you how much it helps. Otherwise, what I've done today is I've grabbed some Rootwise Microbe Complete, and then I grabbed our horticultural aloe vera powder. And I'm looking right now, I don't have the bag in here, but I've talked about it a million times. You can go look online and you can look at BuildASoil and see what that product is. But I'm using the aloe, I'm using the Q60, Q-Yaha, which is a wetting agent. A lot of our customers like the Therm-X 70 yucca extract as well. Just some wetting agent to help spread the moisture. And I'm using the Rootwise Microbe Complete. And that's like the secret formula. It works really, really well. And although you don't have to use this stuff, I've noticed it makes a big difference. And so I'm having a lot of fun for season 7 using all our favorite products. I've already done this to every other one, but here's the one I just added. So all I'm gonna do is make sure that I get a little root wise and some fresh moisture right there, and it kind of seals that together. The main reason I do that, even though the moisture was about ideal in here, was that cocoa coin has a slightly different texture than the living soil we're putting it in, and I want it to be tight together with no air gaps. And in doing that, I allow the roots to penetrate through there right away and not have like it where it's extra wet inside the cocoa and it doesn't want to grow out. I've never had a problem with the cocoa coins, but still, I feel like having air gaps could cause like a dry pocket. And so I just make sure I take my Chapin and I just give it a good seal with a little spray afterwards, and then we're done. So that's it. I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Let me just look around to make sure. If you're just jumping in to episode 3, go back and watch, but these are all the seeds that we popped, and they're from West Slow Collective. So West Slow, thank you so much. We're doing a fuel hunt. And so these are special seeds from top breeders around the country that Dave from West Slow collected. You can see my interview with him on episode 1. And they were special to him, they're special to me. He put a lot of work in getting these packs, getting the authentic source, some of them like the last run that was available, and then doing some of his own crosses to preserve them so we can hunt them. So he's not taking credit for any of this. That's why all the names are on here. But like we got Double Dose Diesel, Top Dog Sour, Karma Sour, Sour Bubble, Top Dog Sour, Piff Coast Sour, Karma Sour Back Cross, and then the Alder Point Sour. And so lots of fun to be found in here. That's our goal, is to find like a BuildASoil cut. And then my buddy Matt Davenport turned me on to his lab where we can do like HLV testing, we can do tissue culture, all sorts of stuff. So hopefully if we lock something down that we really like, maybe we can share it in the future, right? And we can all grow it and have fun together. No promises, but part of the reason that we're doing all these seeds is to lock something down. We may not be able to take cuts from all of them. And so worst case, we could either potentially re-veg, which would be really fun. I've threatened to do it on camera before. Or what I really like is if you know the seeds are still available, like we know where to get West Slow packs, and they will be available at Living Soil Seeds. But the West Slow Collective, like if I say, man, out of all the packs, my winner was in this pack, and I saw a couple different variations I liked, well then next time I can run a couple of just those packs, then take cuttings off every one and lock it down from like a deeper, higher seed count from within the one pack that I found my favorite, where right now I'm kind of cracking them all just to see. And hopefully I can narrow it down. If I fall in love with something, we might re-veg it. If I get close and I want to look further, then we'll do that maybe for season 8 or as a side project. But that's my intention. That's everything that I wanted to cover today. You can see that we're hitting 90 degrees and 51% humidity. That's not completely accurate. I'm gonna turn the light down just a little bit, and we've had the tent door open while we're filming. Typically my Niwa, which we're gonna go over recipe, it's at about 85 degrees in here, and it's about 75% humidity, and it fluctuates. It might drop a little bit in temperature. I'm gonna have this light on full power right now. This is the Cypress, and it's from High Grove, and it's got some green in it, and it's got the UV and far red, and I'm excited. We'll talk about the light soon, but right here at that full distance, when that's cranked all the way up, we're about 350 ppfd. It's perfect for the seedlings, which means I don't have to climb up there and lower it. Would be more efficient if I lowered it and dimmed it, but it's pretty nice just to crank it, get the perfect level right at the seedling height. And so I'm just gonna rock that. And I promise we're gonna go over environment. Up until today, they were in the domes, but I've just released them from the dome and put them here. So in the next episode, I'm gonna go over the Niwa controller, the environment features, and the recipe we're running. So whether you have a controller or not, you can try and mimic what we're doing. We've got a humidifier running, but I will tell you, it's probably only gonna be running during veg. With a good canopy in here, the humidity is usually pretty easy to control. It's just kind of when it's empty that I really like to raise it up so that all these seedlings grow at like lightning fast pace. If you got questions about any of this stuff, we will be covering more in content, and we have 6 seasons back to back that we've already put on YouTube that you can go geek out on right now and binge watch all of them. And then if you get to a point where you're like, man, I have a question that I can't find or I didn't get answered, we have FAQ episodes. And if you can't find it there, we've got real growers that work at BuildASoil that you can call, and they're happy to help you solve your problems and take your grow to the next level. We've got a live chat. We have a Facebook growers group. We may not be everywhere at once, but we're doing our best to get every question back to us, make sure that they get answered. And for a direct source, you can go to buildasoil.com, use the live chat, hit up support@buildasoil.com. And of course, subscribe here like, share this with your friends, and you can put questions right here in the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, subscribe right now. We're age restricted, so it doesn't always let you know when we drop a new video, and that'll help. Otherwise, until next time, I'll see you on the next Build a Soil episode.